Who do we believe? What is the evidence? Where did it all begin? Where and when will it end? It's time to break apart the myth and reveal the hard evidence and discover Atlantis. So what does the word itself mean, and where did it originate? Two small dialogues called Timaeus and Critias, written by the Greek philosopher Plato in around 360 BC, first mention Atlantis. It is named after the Greek Titan god Atlas, who holds up the world on his shoulders. Atlantis is the island of Atlas. The following is Plato's account when speaking to the Athenians. For these histories tell of a mighty power, which unprovoked made an expedition against the whole of Europe and Asia, and to which your city put an end. This power came forth out of the Atlantic Ocean, for in those days the Atlantic was navigable, and there was an island situated in front of the straits, which are by you called the Pillars of Heracles. The island was larger than Libya and Asia put together, and was the way of other islands, and from these you might pass to the whole of the opposite continent which surrounded the true ocean. For this sea, which is within the Straits of Heracles, is only a harbour, having a narrow entrance, but that other is a real sea, and the surrounding land may be most truly called a boundless continent. Now in this island of Atlantis there was a great and powerful empire, which had rule over the whole island and several others, and over parts of the continent, and, furthermore, the men of Atlantis had subjected the parts of Libya within the columns of Heracles as far as Egypt, and of Europe as far as Tyre. This vast power gathered into one, endeavoured to subdue at a blow our country and yours, and the whole of the region within the straits. And then, Solon, your country shone forth, and in the excellence of her virtue and strength among all mankind. She was preeminent in courage and military skill, and was the leader of the Hellenes. And when the rest fell off from her, being compelled to stand alone, after having undergone the very extremity of danger, she defeated and triumphed over the invaders, and preserved from slavery those who were not yet subjugated, and generously liberated all the rest of us who dwell within the pillars. But afterwards there occurred violent earthquakes and floods, and in a single day and night of misfortune all your warlike men in a body sank into the earth, and the island of Atlantis in like manner disappeared into the depths of the sea. For which reason the sea in those parts is impassable and impenetrable, because there is a shoal of mud in the way, and this was caused by the subsidence of the island. According to Plato, Atlantis was a great land and sea power, situated in front of the Pillars of Hercules. This great power had existed 9,000 years before Plato. That's about 11,000 years ago. It had conquered much of Europe and Africa. However, when they attempted to invade Athens, the island sank into the ocean in a single day and night of misfortune. From the moment Plato put pen to paper, Atlantis became a mystery of debate on all levels. From the idea that it actually existed to the concept of it being a utopian dream. In the Middle Ages and later periods, humanists and Renaissance writers turned Atlantis into the allegorical heaven on earth. By the 19th century, it was turning back to a very real possibility that it had existed and indeed still may. One thing is sure, the idea of Atlantis has inspired the imagination of countless individuals throughout the centuries and still does. To academics, the tale is one of many myths woven into Plato's works for purely stylistic reasons. He was conceptualizing the ideal state just as he did so in the Republic. He introduces Atlantis via an older story to give it credence. In Critias, Plato tells the tale of Solon visiting Egypt. There he met a priest called Sais, who relayed the story of a war between the ancient Athens and Atlantis. Some say that real events may have influenced Plato, such as the eruption of Santorini, the invasion of the Sea Peoples, and even the Trojan War. Most, however, insist that Plato created the story with minor inspirations such as the failed Athenian invasion of Sicily. Plato introduced Atlantis first in Timaeus. For it is related in our records how once upon a time your state stayed the course of a mighty host, which, starting from a distant point in the Atlantic Ocean, was insolently advancing to attack the whole of Europe and Asia to boot. For the ocean there was at that time navigable, for in front of the mouth which you Greeks call, as you say, the Pillars of Heracles, there lay an island which was larger than Libya and Asia put together, and it was possible for the travellers of that time to cross from it to the other islands, and from the islands to the whole of the continent, over against them, which encompasses that veritable ocean. For all that we have here, lying within the mouth of which we speak, is evidently a haven having a narrow entrance. But that yonder is a real ocean, and the land surrounding it may most rightly be called, in the fullest and truest sense, a continent. Now in this island of Atlantis, there existed a confederation of kings, of great and marvellous power, which held sway over all the island, and over many other islands also, and parts of the continent.
It's hard to